Might as well get right to it. It's a pretty boring night. So I'm going to do True Beverly Hills. I realize there's no point in me. Why do I have headphones on? I don't need headphones. There's nobody else here. Why do I have headphones on? I don't know. Originally, I planned to do this with Jay, but he hasn't been available, and maybe I could have waited longer. I don't know. But I always get antsy about some of these movies that pop up for me that might disappear. Like I said, I'm just bored. Why True Beverly Hills? It is one that is. This is one from my childhood. It just came from, uh, you know, taping it off TV, and then I would watch the tape a lot. It was one I watched with my mother and sister, but I'd also watch myself down in the basement going through all the many tapes that we had taping stuff off TV. I can't remember what else was on that particular tape. Some of the movies I can associate with stuff because there was other stuff on the tapes and certain commercials and things like that. I can't really remember, but anyway, there was a Troop Beverly Hills tape, probably taped, I guess, probably in 90 or 91, since the movie had an 89 release. It was just a movie that I watched, and nothing too special about it or anything, but I haven't seen it in quite some time. Although I have seen it as an adult, I have. It's just probably been a while, but it's interesting, like remembering movies from when you were a kid like this, because like the movie was a movie to me. Like I didn't know any of the actors. They didn't mean anything to me. They were just characters in a movie. Whatever sort of social commentary is or isn't supposed to be going on in a movie like this was beyond me. I mean, all you really get out of it is, what is it? It's what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? Okay, let me think for a second. The only thing I really get out of it is that, yeah, I guess the point being made that these girls are rich. They're born into rich families, and people sort of judge them for that. Say they can't do this or that or the other thing, and it sort of prove that. And Shelley Long comes in to sort of prove that she's not just a do-nothing housewife who married for money, blah blah blah. So I mean, I guess I could pick that up a little bit as a kid, something about money or status or the way we judge each other and things like that. It's not a particularly deep movie, and at the same time, like, it is hard to understand what kind of lesson to take away from it. I mean, the girls themselves are rich and spoiled, which is not entirely their fault. And at the same time, you see that it doesn't mean they're not good people, and they're not completely spoiled. They want to do this stuff. So I mean, it's always a hard sell to an audience to be like, get on the side of the rich people, because usually they're like the oppressors or whatever. But in this case, it is kids that they can't control what they were born into or anything like that. And I don't really agree with them being judged or made fun of or something like that just because they were born into rich families. I mean, they're very lucky, but that wasn't their fault. Really, you sort of judge people for kind of what they do after that. Like, are they going to try to forge their own path? Or are they just going to try to live off in here? I don't know. Anyway, the movie's not making any deep statements, right? It's just, it is what it is. But yeah, so I haven't seen this in a long time, and I've been on my mind for a couple of weeks to watch it. Tonight's a good night. I was going to do it last night. I kind of lost the will. Wasn't feeling very energetic. I feel a bit better now. So I don't know. This is more out of boredom than anything else. As I say, it's not a particularly great movie. I know that the director is the same guy that did Revenge of the Nerds, and that's really about it. This is the acting debut for a lot of young actresses. Maybe most notably Tori Spelling is in there. But as I said, back when I saw this, none of these names, whether they were established or not, would have meant anything to me. Plus, there are a lot of like cameos of like various celebrities that would have been in Beverly Hills. And what the hell? Okay, sorry about that. I haven't done this in a while. It hasn't been that long. What am I doing? I'm messing with the controls. But anyway, I don't remember what I was saying. But anyway, it was just a movie I watched. We had it on tape, so I watched it with familiarity. It's not particularly great or memorable or funny, but it's something that imprinted on me a little bit as a kid, and I watched it every once in a while, coming across the tape. Eventually, probably started watching it out for reasons of nostalgia, I suppose. I mean, I remember there's a scene in here where the main girl is playing Nintendo with her father, who is that guy? Craig T. Nelson. So it's like, oh, that's relatable, playing Nintendo. I did the same thing, so it's about that. And relatable in that, I mean, eventually I wasn't what are they, Wilderness Girls, which is some sort of version, I guess, of Girl Guides. But I was a Boy Scout, I was a Cub, I was a Boy Scout, and even eventually in high school. So I stuck with it. Most people don't stick with it in high school, but I was even a Venturer, although it was more laid back in this kind of atmosphere. But I mean, I did that stuff, went on camping trips and I earned badges and wore a little stupid uniform. I mean, it was mostly pretty cool because we were a more laid back kind of troop when I was scouts. Like, yeah, we participated in some of these things, but we weren't all hardcore or slavish about it. I mean, it was fun. Ryan was in there. I had some other friends, so I mean, it was fun to do something with friends. It did teach me to do things, but I just probably don't remember how to do most of them anymore. Like, I hate to say it, I haven't been camping probably in like 15 years, and just even though I took it all the way, I was a chief scout. The original, that's an Eagle Scout in the U.S., which is a much better name. Chief is okay, but we only changed it. The original title was Queen Scout, which sounds ridiculous, but anyway. But that was all part of our oath too. We were part of our like little I promise thing. Like, we included like sort of an oath to the Queen. So we were under the great British crown, the monarchy. I don't know. But this, this is more generic. This doesn't necessarily, I think, again, this is just something made up for the movies, obviously based on the Girl Guides, but they're wilderness girls. Okay, whatever. I'll buy. So, I mean, that was really the whole point of the movie. It's just sort of the contrast, I guess. Yeah, compare and contrast. Some clashing things, like rich girls that are used to, like, only the finest things, but they're supposed to be roughing in the wilderness. And, of course, everybody says they can't do it and judges them. There's a mean troop and a mean count, I don't know what you want to call them, leader. I don't know. That's probably enough preamble. This movie doesn't deserve that much. It's just a silly movie from 1989 that I, again, just have some fond memories of. So let's watch Troop Beverly Hills. I don't think anybody's getting ready, but if you're watching this sometime in the future and want the definitive commentary for this, we can do a countdown. We'll do 3, 2, 1, then we'll hit play and we'll get going. So 3, 2, 1, hitting play. And I'm sure there's actually a little, yeah. It's a bit of a delay. I really hope that Crave will work okay for me. It worked well for Harry Potter, which was, the big, that's already too loud. I think this has an animated intro, which makes me wonder what is going on in 1989. Because, there's a Beach Boys song. Not a classic Beach Boys song, but like a contemporary Beach Boys song from around there. But yeah, so we have the animated intro here. And it's funny because, like, 89 was the same year as, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which is much more famous and well-remembered and cool than this movie. I watch it every year at Christmas like most people. But I always took away is, like, both had these silly, like, playful animated intros. So, I mean, I almost wish I could show it, but we're watching it. But yeah, I can't believe I forgot this Beach Boys song. Maybe that's another thing. The Beach Boys were my favorite band when I was a kid, back when I would have watched this. Man, that still theme is really loud, doesn't it? It's weird how loud it is. So, I don't know. It's nice animation. You could make a good Saturday morning cartoon out of it. Maybe if the movie had been more successful, they would have done that. Because it's not a bad premise, really. So I don't know who's doing the animation here, but it looks pretty good. It's also, again, it's in the same, introducing Jenny Lewis, who I think is the main girl in this, Shelley Long's daughter. But yeah, it's a cool intro. Oh, fishing for caviar. Get it? Caviar is fancy. So, like, the jokes in the movie are just like the same thing over and over again. It's like, they're fancy, and it's, weird against this backdrop, but that's just what it is. No one's going to say this is a classic. It still has the moments that I do think are funny. It's like, oh, I've got my Evian water for your canteen. I mean, really, Evian's not even that fancy by today's standards. I mean, I can go down the street and buy Evian. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Evian's probably not what they drink in Beverly Hills these days. There's probably something much more fancy and expensive. Now they're going to use their hair dryers to get rid of the bugs. Sure. I guess they have got cordless hair dryers. I don't know. Screenplay by 2 women. So it's a very female-centric movie. Male director, but still. And again, I don't think that's a big deal or anything. It didn't really mean anything to me. Yeah, I always liked this. I always thought it was weird that like when you heard about various cartoons or things that were aimed at like kids, the idea was always that boys, like the boy audience, they weren't interested in girl characters or that would turn them off. It never bothered me. It's like there's boys and there's girls. Sometimes stories are about boys and sometimes they're about girls. And I get that I don't relate to the girls in the same way, but they're not fucking aliens, so I didn't mind seeing a show or a movie where the main character or characters were girls. It didn't turn me off any. I was like, fine. This still seems too loud, but whatever. So there's the mean one talking right off. Yeah. They don't sell cookies, they don't earn patches, they fucking suck. Having a meeting here. So yeah, they're about to get rid of the troop. She just wants to do away with Troop Beverly Hills altogether. Velda, there, that's our villain, Velda. So they've got one last chance to keep their troop together, but they don't have a leader. New applicant. So this just jumps right into it. I mean, it should. It's not like it's a long movie or anything. Phyllis Neffler. Shaky. Pretty good. And yeah, I mean, she really is. She plays this quite well. With the long cigarette thing, like that. One of the Hepburns had. I always get Audrey and Catherine mixed up. Going on a nice little Beverly Hills shopping spree. Yeah, so we're doing back and forth. They're reading her application and bouncing and showing stuff she's doing, which is mostly just spending her husband's money. I mean, they make no bones about that. Like, she's not somebody that, like, she is wealthy because she married a wealthy man. Like, maybe if they made the movie now, they might try. But again, it doesn't mean, again, that she's worthless. So, I don't know. So, you know, saying, yeah, she is a do-nothing housewife, and she's going to prove that she can do stuff, but I don't know. The laws are what they are. Maybe that's why I never got married. Not that I like, marriage as a legal contract is always been strange to me. Like, Paul McCartney divorced that woman. You know, he was married to Linda. Linda died, and he was married to that woman who had like one leg or whatever. And when they divorced, she got like millions and millions of dollars, and I have no idea why. How did she get any of it? But marriage is a legal contract, and things like assets and money get all tied up. And I don't know. I'm kind of uncomfortable with the idea. But at the same time, if you have like a partner that you're living with and you live together anyway, it's better to get married for a lot of reasons because of various social benefits it brings, like, I don't know, insurance or healthcare and stuff like. I don't know. I mean, most people my age know all about that stuff because they've already been married, but I haven't, so I think about it a lot. Not marriage itself, like that weird technical side of marriage. I don't know. So I already forgot her name. I said her name and I already forgot it. Let's get the fucking character, Phyllis. So she's Phyllis Neffler, an annoying do-nothing. Shelley Long as Phyllis Neffler, the socialite. Coming back from a big spending spree, and there's Craig T. Nelson, her husband, although I guess they're going through a divorce. Yeah. So they're saying right now, have your fun now. Once it's so he's making sure she won't get much money. So like Shelley Long and Craig T. Nelson are obviously very recognizable actors, and certainly would have been back then. But this movie is what I know them best for, honestly. I get it; they were on big shows, but I didn't watch those shows, so you know that's going to be a problem later. Not enough. So only a few minutes in. We're coming up just past 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Nobody cares. This still seems really too loud, doesn't it? This is the lowest I've ever had about the TV. Something really loud about this one. I don't know why. It's on the same app I use for lots of stuff, Crave. There's their daughter, Hannah, as played by. Why is her name so Jenny Lewis? Why is her name so low if she's the main girl? And it's a normal thing. Jenny Lewis is like, this is all very silly, this divorce you're doing. You're saying it'll be a lot better for everybody when we're divorced. Saw it on Oprah. Wow, that reference works for decades, luckily. They've got a nice private gym that she's doing gymnastics in. I wish I had a private gym. And I might have still been able to do some of the Taekwondo and Muay Thai even when I wasn't taking classes. I'm losing all my flexibility. Old and out of shape. Gotta fix it. It's not too late. I'm not too old. But here's the thing. She already knows that her mother's volunteered to be the new troop leader, which he finds very funny because she can't do anything. And she hates the outdoors. What happened to the whales? Did you save them? Cat is going crazy off to the side there. She's all right. Oh, what a tacky house. I know that 1989 is one of the tackiest years ever to exist, but man, they play it up. Oh, and they've got a Hispanic maid, of course, which is still a thing. I don't want people to take that the wrong way. I disapprove of these Hispanics. No, that's not what I mean. I like Craig T. Like she's of course dressed even by 1989 standards. She's dressed for really ridiculously to show off her dumb style. But he looks stupid too. Look at his big loose pants. I don't know. I can't describe it. They both look absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't. I think this is one of those movies where like they do wind up not getting divorced or back together, which was kind of how they handled that. When divorce started being more of a thing in society, in the 70s and 80s. A lot of the stories were usually like instead of saying like divorce was a normal like it was a sad thing, nobody liked it and it could be bad, especially with kids involved, but it was a normal thing and blah blah blah. Most of the time they would construct these sort of narratives where like in the end they would get back together. That's one of the things that was kind of refreshing about the Robin Williams movie. What is it? Mrs. Doubtfire. Like in Mrs. Doubtfire, like that divorce is final, and they just have to accept it and move on. I mean, for all the wackiness and craziness in that movie, it still makes a point that, like, okay, the divorce is final, and it probably is better for both of them. They don't love each other anymore. They've got kids, and this is better for all of them. They're not going to magically get back together and fix. And people who stay together just for the kids, that almost never works out. You're going to make a bunch of noise. Who cares? This is one nobody's watching anyway. Don't ruin my amazing show. No, the Harry Potter stuff is what I care the most about. I'm going to promote the shit out of that. I got a pretty good turnout for the first one, considering I wasn't even really to promote it very much. For the next one, I'm going to I'm going to try to promote it and let people know exactly when it's happening, and tag as many people as possible because I really want eyes on that. I really am. I really do think it's important and I like it. It's fun. Jay's joined it too, which was not part of the original plan, but that's cool. It's more the merrier. So it's cool to have him on it too with Jess and I. But yeah, I really like the Harry Potter stuff. So we've just done the first one and there's plenty more to go over the months. So I'm excited about that. So what we got? Oh, now we're finally getting some introduction to some of the other girls. There's a little redhead. Oh, and she's helping her dad negotiate while he talks on the phone, which is a pretty cool thing in 1989 to talk on the phone while you're driving. Big. But yeah, so now we're getting character introductions for the girls, and so they're throwing some sort of a party, I guess, to announce that she's going to be their leader. Ooh, there's a very old school car. Might be some sort of old Rolls Royce. Chica. All dressed up in her very fancy riding attire, or horseback riding. I want to get a nice 50s. So this one's father is an actor, but he seems to be kind of washed up because she just said he's going to unemployment. Oh, they're really. Oh, so they're like, they're in genteel poverty. He doesn't even have $10 to give her for the dues. $10 for dues is a lot in '89. My dues was like $2, and that was after this. Okay, so yeah, little subplots going on with each of the girls and their family situation. So far, we've seen the first two that showed up, except for the one Chica, because we didn't know she. They both were with fathers, not mothers. So this one's what, the diplomat's daughter. Yeah, they actually refer. Is this some sort of North Korea joke? Because even in 1989, it was like that. She just referred to those Asian people as Mr. and Mrs. Dictator. So wow, kind of a weird joke to make, even in '89. Of course, they're never going to say. They aren't going to say what country it is. But I mean, so this one's like a director's daughter or something. He seems like some sort of take on Spielberg or something. I'm not going to be able to keep these girls straight, their names or who their families are. But yeah, almost all of them were dropped off by just their dad. Another redhead. Yeah, just make as much noise as possible. Well, that's a hell of a car. You pulled him over because he's black. Ooh, social commentary again. Who gets pulled over by the cop? The black family. Makes sense. Even in Beverly Hills, they're racist as fuck. But luckily, the daughter's gonna set this guy straight. Oh, he was a boxer. Okay. See, I get these references now. Spinks, Hagler, those were boxers in the '80s. I know who they were, but back then it would have meant nothing to me. It's a hell of a cool car. This like weird purple roadster thing. And here's another cool car. I get it. They all show up in cool, badass cars. There's some sort of ridiculous black Lamborghini. This one's actually with her mom, so that's a first. Her mom seems to be, I don't know, a romance author. Then again, that might just be her hobby. Because most of them, almost, if this is, yeah, she's helping her write her sex scene. Very healthy. Good mother daughter relationship there. Yeah, so Claire, so Claire's an actual a child actress playing. She's a child. The character is a child actress. Hmm. So all the other ones, their money comes from their dad. Are they saying like her money comes from her and her mom, or is her mom a famous novelist, or is her mom just a novelist on the side? I'm not sure. I guess it doesn't matter. They're all rich as fuck. I wish I could show you what Shelley Long looks like right now because she wears a lot of ridiculous outfits. This might be the most ridiculous. She looks like a fucking walking birthday cake. But yeah, the angsty one, I remember her a little bit. She's Chica. They all okay. They're all very skeptical that she's gonna stick with them. So they're gonna go make uniforms at the army surplus store or something. Yeah, so that's weird. They actually say Boy Scouts there, but it's a wilderness girl. So it's just like what the Girl Guides of America would sue the shit out of them if they use it. I don't know. Wilderness girls. Okay, she said shit, so that's pretty cool. Oh, it's so drab. Oh no, this won't do. It's not fancy enough. Oh, she's wearing something that's not designer. It's killing her. Yeah, so she's going to take the. Yeah, I remember that. I don't know who the actor is. He almost reminds me. He would have been younger than like a Martin Short type as the designer. She's going to get him to alter the uniform so that there's something cool. Velda Plender. So that's our bad guy, the regional director. And of course, her troop is the best. He refers to other people as civilians. Yeah, you're not in a branch of the military. I do like the cape thing. I do think we should bring that back. I'm making fun of Shelley Duvall's character a lot for being fancy and stupid, but I do like the cape. It's very cool. I think it works in '89. I think it works now. Bring back capes and cloaks. They're cool. I want a cloak like a hobbit, like they got in, not Rivendell. Uh, Man, my Lord of the Rings knowledge is flooding out of my ears while I'm trying to watch this. It'll come to me. Lothlorien. A woman who doesn't make a ruckus. That's an interesting criteria. Don't make a ruckus, but still get the job done. Okay, I guess. Don't make a ruckus. That's a big rule for being a wilderness girl troop leader. Oh yeah, she also has like a weird little assistant too that eventually turns on her. Attend the annual jamboree. So yeah, see, I went to like jamboree things. Like for us, we just always called it May Camp, which was a camp in May on the Victoria Day weekend, where all the Cape Breton troops would come together. And yeah, our troop was, a lot of them they were goody goodies and they wore the uniforms and we were more laid back. We were kind of more delinquent. I don't want to say delinquents, but we were more on that side of things. Like we were more there to have fun than to do all that geeky stuff. Although again, we did do some of the geeky stuff, and I don't have any objection to it. I think it was a good thing for me. It was a good extracurricular activity. Like I said, I had friends in it, so it was fun to do with them. It'd be different if like I didn't like anybody. And I mean, yeah, there were kids in it too that were not my friends. I wasn't too interested in, but they weren't too bad. So man, that's kind of undignified. They're rich because he's a muffler seller guy who dresses up as a muffler for the commercials. That seems so undignified for somebody who's obviously like a multi-millionaire. She says he's a shit, but he's a cute shit. This is also where I first heard about silicone boobs because he starts dating this other woman, and when she's describing it, when her daughter describes, she says, "What does she look like?" And she says, "It's blonde, blah blah blah." And then she says, "Big boobs," and she goes, "Silicone boobs." It's funny how like when you're a kid and you hear words that you hadn't heard before, and sometimes your brain will just substitute it with a word you know. So like my memory of that is her saying cone-shaped boobs, which made sense to me because I didn't know what silicone was. Oh, there she is. So for a long time, I had that memory, and then of course I watched. I was like, she's saying silicone. A woman going to the guest house. Yeah. So yeah, they're not formally dark hair, long legs, big boobs, stringy hair, skinny legs, silicone boobs. Oh, it's the realtor. So he's not actually having an affair with her. It's a slutty realtor. Yeah. So right now, yeah, she's living in the main house and he's living in the guest house. Well, she'll be out in the street when this divorce is final. Oh, cat. Yep, it's a slutty realtor, all right. Definitely not Shelley Long falling out of the tree there. Definitely a stunt double. Ooh, that's embarrassing. Yeah, I don't know most of these actors. Like I know Jenny Lewis did stuff, but I don't know. Tori Spelling as Jamie. Yeah, so Tori Spelling isn't a kid here. She is the Oh yeah, she is. She's one of the bad. She's one of the bad ones though. So what the fuck's going on now? Bad cover of In the Jungle. True Beverly Hills. Get it? They're roughing it. Mad Magazine, Psychology Today. Couldn't read the other one. It's Carla Gugino as Chica. Stern girl who was often left alone by her jet-setting parents. Okay, so yeah, I was saying she's a child. Claire is a child actress and the daughter of a romance novelist and successful lawyer. So double income there. Okay, so I was wrong about my dictator thing. I thought she was Asian, but apparently not. I guess she wasn't, because, yeah, the daughter of dictator Bong Bong in Korea, based on Ferdinand and Emilio Marcos. Oh, yeah, Bong Bong. Ferdinand. Okay, Philippine. Yeah, Philippine. Silly me. Getting my Asians crossed. So, Filipino. Oh, it's raining and she's in the mud, and that better not be real fur, Phyllis. Fur is murder, you bitch. So far, nothing funny or amusing has really happened. Oh no, it's rainy and you got muddy. Time to quit. At one point, she is about to quit, which would have proved her and her husband right. Her daughter has to talk sense into her. They already want to quit. For one of these, they do wind up going to a quitting and going to a fancy hotel. Do they do that now, or is this a later one? They're singing "Kumbaya," which is something we all did at camp. I sang it. We sang all those dumb, lame songs because that's what you do at camp. People that never go to camp, you want to be all judgy, but if you were there, you'd do it too. It's not like we were doing anything too crazy. I mean, yeah, there were some Christian overtones to that, but I didn't just pledge allegiance or whatever to the Queen. I also made a promise to God. I didn't believe it then, don't believe it now, but you said it. And yeah, so some of the stuff like "Kumbaya, my lord." Yeah, so this is early. So they bailed and they're at a fancy hotel. It's a Beverly Hills hotel. This is the stuff I remember best. I remember the next morning they're watching Pee Wee Herman. Bungalow floor. Four. Very quaint, calling that a bungalow. Oh, the man with the golden arm. That's a story I remember telling and hearing. I heard this one before I went to camp. Even I had an older kid I played with sometimes in my neighborhood, and he told it to us. The man with the golden arm. They don't do telephone in this. Telephone's one of my favorite camp things. I always like playing telephone. I think some people would kind of embellish just to make it better, but still, you know, I didn't. So what's your scary story, Phyllis? Is it going to be something to do with money or lawyers or plastic surgery? Here we go. Come on, what you got? Oh, Christoph's not at the hair place. Did you wind up with split ends or something? Streak your hair and I'll give you a body wave. See, I'm not up on hair terms. I mean, streaking still a thing. Is a body wave still something that happens and gets done, or is that an 80s thing that has been put to pasture? I don't know. Was it a perm? Yeah, it was a perm. Oh, shit. And all the girls, of course, freak out. Not very funny. Predictable and lame. But, really roughing it in their bungalow. She loves that cigarette, too. Probably wouldn't fly today either. Might be a long, fancy cigarette, but still a cigarette. It's like, we can't have our main character smoking around children all the time. The dictator's daughter never seems to take off her sunglasses. I don't know if that's a joke or just, maybe that's a joke. It's hard to tell what's supposed to be a joke in some of these stupid movies. It's like, she wears sunglasses all the time. That's funny, I guess. Yeah, there we go. There's the Pee Wee Herman. That's weird. I remember the room being a lot messier. Oh, it's not messy at all, really. See, now they're pretending to smoke. This is exactly the problem. She's making fun of. Okay, we're coming up just about to 30 minutes. Just under 30 minutes, people. 30-minute mark coming up now. See, there was a cameo. I wouldn't have known back then, but that was, I don't know, Annette Funicelli, or however you say her name. She was the Mickey Mouse Club thing, and then she did those. And I think that was like Frankie Avalon or something with her. I don't know, but it wasn't really much of a cameo. They just ran by. She was singing "I Love Paul." Yeah, Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicelli. Obviously before my time, but on Family Channel they did show the old episodes, and I get how like she was sort of a first crush for a whole generation of boys. She was quite pretty, and then she did those beach movies. It was pretty cool. But I mean, hey, I got to see Britney Spears in my version of Mickey Mouse Club. What's funny is like she's the only one I really remember. Like there were several that were famous. I think that Justin Timberlake was one. I think even briefly Christina Aguilera was one. I don't remember them, but I do remember Britney quite well. And I did not make a connection, about 6 or 7 years later when Britney Spears released her first album. I had no idea it was the same person. Same thing with Jennifer Love Hewitt. Like Jennifer Love Hewitt, when she was a kid, she went by the name Love Hewitt, and she was on a show again that came on Family Channel called Kids Incorporated. They kind of replaced the kids every year, but she was on for at least a season or two, and I thought she was so beautiful. And then like a couple years, I should have known this because I think I probably knew, but again, I guess didn't take note of names. But then a couple years later, she shows up in sort of a sex symbol in the later 90s doing stuff as Jennifer Love Hewitt, and I thought she was hot too, but I didn't at the time connect them. I didn't know she was the same person because probably I did not take note that her name was Love Hewitt back then. I don't know. But yeah, so I kind of had two separate crushes on Jennifer Love Hewitt, not realizing it was the same person just because there was a skipping there, and she aged and I didn't recognize her. All right, so the mean one has come to chew them out for cheating. And she's like, "You prance these princesses through Beverly Hills all you want. You'll never be a real wilderness girl." Yeah, that's her whole thing. Fuck you, Niffler. We're going to disband your troop. You're a bunch of little stupid heads. So much for being normal. Yeah, and I mean, I do understand it. Like, they do want to be seen sort of as normal girls, normal kids. So, I mean, I get the message of the movie. I'm like, oh, poor little rich girl, my life's so hard. But I mean, it is true. People do judge you based on this kind of stuff, and it isn't fair. I mean, yeah, I think it's probably better to be rich and judged than poor and not. But I mean, it's not like poor and not happens. People get judged for being poor. So, So not only being judged, but you're also poor. And this is like, well, at least they're rich. That was a weird joke. She's not even under 14. Don't bet on it. What are you saying exactly about your still husband? I wouldn't put it past him to date a 13-year-old. I mean, I know you're mad at him. Come on. Annual Wilderness Craft Day. I don't really remember this. What's going to happen here? Oh, that's the other thing. The bad guy troop are called the Red Feathers. And there's the daughter. She's well cast. She does remind you of her. But she doesn't like her calling her mom. You call me Miss Blender, sir. That's pretty funny. So one of the other kids there, not that one, is Tori Spelling. But I don't know which one. It might be the one with the pigtails. I don't know. I wouldn't recognize Tori Spelling. But the Red Feather troop are kind of, I mean, that's cultural appropriation, right? Like, this is just a bunch of little white girls taking on Indian stuff. But it's 1989 and all that was fine. See, they've even got a fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? Totem pole. I mean, there's a fine line. There's even like homage and appropriation. There's nothing wrong with learning about like maybe the native American tribes around that area, but they're going a bit further. That is pretty cool backpack. I like it. It does. I mean, if they made it, it does show some sort of skills. But Beverly Hills, so the other one's laughing. I mean, you're all from fucking Southern California, so Oh man, so I know that actress. That's funny. So one of the leaders there, kind of heavyset actress, I know her. She has like a really brief role in the 1993 political thriller In the Line of Fire, the Clint Eastwood movie, where trying to protect the president from a crazed John Malkovich. John Malkovich actually murders her, that woman I'm talking about. But I knew her because she had a long recurring role on the soap Days of Our Lives, which was kind of ahead of its time in a way because she didn't look like she looked like a normal person. She was a bit heavy and stuff like that, but like I don't know. They didn't just make her the butt of jokes or anything. She was just another character. She played a character called Nancy, who was kind of good and kind of bad. I used to watch Days of Our Lives with my mom in the 90s, so once you got into the 2000s, so lost, too many characters died or replaced or moved on. But there was a time between, say, like 92 and maybe, I don't know, 2001 or so that, like, I was pretty dialed in. I knew the characters and storylines. It's not like I watched it every day or anything. I did watch it. But anyway, she was one of those characters. So she didn't even have a speaking role there, but I think she does later. They just showed her in a crowd scene laughing, where they're all laughing at the Beverly Hills girls. What are you doing now? Fuck, why do I keep forgetting names? I mean, I get Phyllis. Our main character is Phyllis. And her daughter is Hannah. But who's the bad guy? Keep fucking forgetting everything. Cleo is the daughter. What's the bad guy? I mean, yeah, Velda. What a weird name, Velda. Yeah, so Velda's the bad guy. Her daughter is Cleo. And one of Cleo's friends, who's always with her, is played by Tori Spelling. And this is a cliche too. She can't open the jar, so she's going to go to the guest house to get her husband to open it for her. That's going to be a problem after the divorce. She is quite stupid, hitting it with a knife. Like, I've had trouble opening jars. I can admit that. And what the best thing I think is, run it under hot water for a little while, then dry it off, give it another shot. Hot water loosens it up. I can admit that sometimes I've had trouble opening jars. He just looks ridiculous. But look, he's looking so manly. She's thinking, look how manly and strong he is doing his, he's supposed to be doing Tai Chi or what? He looks fucking ridiculous. It's not like Craig T. Nelson was ever in good shape. Like, he doesn't look terrible here, but I mean, he doesn't, you can tell he does not work out or anything. And he's hairy and he's balding and I don't know. There are people that are into that, guys and girls. But ugh, I don't know. When people say now like dad bod, like ugh, God, don't let that happen to me, please, please no. Anyway, done body shaming Craig T. Nelson for now. Right. So Herman's here as like a spy. Velda sent her to basically spy on them. But eventually she, you know, flips. What are they even doing? This isn't part of like Girl Scouts. This troop sucks. Oh, that hurts. You should say we suck. Camera pans and they each have a line in turn. Ooh, real talk here. Losers. I work. Movie's not exactly a classic, but it's what I got for us today, this evening. No, you can't make up your own patches. That's. I think they do though. They do make up their own patches, which can't you tell you how to live in the forest and eat bark. I think anybody would know how to survive in the wilds of Beverly Hills if they had a ton of money. Like, isn't that what you need? A ton of money. So they go from, oh, this is stupid and sucks to, yeah, we'll do this. They're gonna get what, expensive makeovers and buy clothes and stuff. I mean, I like that they all get the little capes though. It's cool. Oh, they get massages, pedicure. Pedicures are important for camping. Pedicure and cappuccino, very nice. Ah, she's got like a spy camera in her book or something. I don't know. I like this. Okay, see, that is funny. I just like how she just laughed at her. That is funny. Not giving context. You're supposed to be watching the movie. You know what's going on. You're watching the movie right now, right? You know where we are in the movie. I don't describe every fucking thing that's happening. I just react to it. You know what's happening in the movie. That one can appraise diamonds. It's pretty cool. Oh, we love diamonds. Oh, they're really dragging out the kumbaya joke. Let it go. We get it. It's the one thing they can do. This is, might be the most 80s scene in the whole thing is they're dressed for like aerobics. Okay. She's pretty good at the mashed potato. There's the twist, of course. You can't do a dance without twist. Holy gully. Wow. Don't know this one. Don't know that at all. I do like the Freddy a lot. If you oh shit, I can't remember. The Freddy's pretty funny. Ooh, Officer Bill's hot. I mean, CPR, that is something you everyone should learn, and it's so this is like something they're actually learning that's useful. CPR. It's like, well, I don't want to go to jail, so I think I'll pick her, the adult. Lie down and open your mouth. Yeah, more than a patch for it was pretty good. Girls are horrified and titillated. I think they got the right balance there. Oh, I'm not sure why that warrants a picture from the spy camera. I mean, learning CPR is like the only useful thing they've done so far. Actually, this is useful too. They're doing community service. They're spending time with the old folks at the old folks home. That's actually useful. The only thing is, like, if you just do it one and done, it's kind of a dick thing. It's kind of like people that like go to soup kitchens once a year. I mean, it's better than not going at all. I mean, it's like it's my one day of the year to be charitable, and then fuck you for the rest of the year. But I did that's one of the things I did to become a Chief Scout was I did volunteer work at a retirement home. So yeah, that was like more than one afternoon. I did that for like a few months, I think. I had grandparents there anyway at the time, so I was used to going there. But I actually went to do help the staff do stuff. It wasn't too bad. It's not like they made you do anything really difficult or really gross, which is something that you have to do if you're a staff member there. What's going on here? Beverly Hills Municipal Court. Oh, the divorce proceedings. So she's decided to bring her troop. They're all dressed like they're doing. I like how she dresses them. It looks like they're trying to do some sort of sting operation to like take down child molesters. They're laying it a bit thick. I have no idea why she brought them here. Oh, but the judge is a woman, so I guess that's important for them to see. That's what she's saying. Okay. Oh, and his lawyer is one of the other girls' fathers. Very nice. What are they even trying to get? Is this for custody? I don't even know what this is about. For some reason, they can't just get divorced. There's some sort of Neffler versus Neffler thing. Never go to Reno. See, that seems fair. That's not bad advice. Remarriage. What a bombshell. Don't tell me it was the slutty realtor. He moves fast. He's not even divorced yet, and he's thinking about getting married again. I guess that's how it works when you're such an alpha like him with all his money. I kind of have to agree with the realtor on this one. I think she's probably right, the one talking about the midlife crisis thing. He's been going through one for 11 years. I think I had my first midlife crisis before I'd even turned 30. So here we are. Full on crisis. At least he's got like money. It's a lot more fun, I think, to have a midlife crisis if you have like money. Try going through a midlife crisis without money. Because people are like, oh, it's a midlife crisis, so he bought a fancy car or he's dating somebody really young, as if it's just super easy. I mean, I say this while I'm dating someone 14 years younger than me, but hey, I already admitted to the crisis. I'm just saying it's not as easy to do without money. Are they doing more cultural appropriation? Yes, they are. Don't wear the headdress, even if it is a crappy, cheap store-made one that's a mockery of real. Ooh, you're going to get patches. They're so excited because they've never earned patches before. We never called them patches, even though that's what they were. We called them badges. Maybe that's a distinction that doesn't matter. I don't know. But when I was a scout or whatever, we earned badges. I had quite a few. I expect I was a proactive kid. I had quite a few ones. Even for stuff that I sucked at, like the number one thing that like I completely like lost the knowledge of was knots. Like I worked really hard to get the knot thing, and like as soon as I had the badge, I like instantly forgot. Like, don't ask me to tie any of those knots now. But even 20 years ago, I would have been like, I don't remember any of this shit. Like, I think in the right circumstances with the right stuff, I could still remember how to do things like make a fire and things like that. But don't ask me to tie like a cheap knot or a clove hitch or anything like that. I don't fucking remember, and I hated doing it. Not good with my hands in that way. All right, so here's a little subplot coming back about the girl whose father's the washed up actor. She doesn't have the money for dues and she's embarrassed. And she'll be like, don't worry about it. I've been worthless my whole life and just leeching off the man I married. Money was pretty damn important. Neiman Marcus, that's still a thing. So we're coming up on 49 minutes, folks. We just breezing by. She tells very detailed stories. We have that in common. It's embarrassing, but you bounced back and got lots of money. I mean, this rings hollow though, saying these things happen. Having everyone having money isn't the most important thing. I mean, true, but I mean, she's saying, yeah, she had that bad thing where she didn't have money and they embarrassed her. She had to put stuff up. But I mean, she bounced back by being quite wealthy. Look, one of her friends is gonna give her some money. Yeah, it's good to have friends with money. So the movie's kind of weird, and sometimes it like tries to be like wholesome and be like, what's inside really matters, and it doesn't matter what people think of you and your heart and being good and friends. And some of it I was like, yeah, so we can make fun of them for being a little shallow about money, but other times it's just like money fixes stuff, that's for sure. Which I guess is realistic. Money fixes a lot of things. Can't fix everything, but fuck, I'd rather have all my problems plus money. Oh, they're having a boat party. There's the dictator and Mrs. Dictator. Right. So yeah, I would not have been aware of that kind of reference back then. I would not have yes, known much about the political situation in Philippines in the 80s. Oboe stew. That yeah, I would agree. Well, it's like a pirate band. They've got eye patches and everything. That's dedicated. Oh, they're having a ceremony. Okay, I didn't know what the fuck this was. Friendship hat, the shopping patch, the jewelry appraisal patch. These are not real badges. It shows kind of how dumb they all are. Like the girls at first seem more in touch with reality than her. They're like, we want to be real wilderness girls, blah blah blah. But then like they're totally on board when she drags them to the hotel. They're totally on board when she takes them through Beverly Hills on a shopping spree. And now they're totally on board for a bunch of badges that they know have no bearing on the actual organization. But they're all I don't know. It's weird. I thought they were more in tune with reality. Even Craig T. Nelson's here, like, whatever, I don't care. I know this is all a sham, but I'm trying to be supportive of my daughter. Fire prevention patch, the gardening with glamour patch, whatever that means. Oh, oh, it's not an 80s comedy without the stuffy woman nobody likes falling in the water. Okay, so I was what? Why is this on a boat? That's the entire. I swear, I know that's why they wrote the scene this way. They wanted it on a boat so that the woman he's dating would fall in the water. That was just a big thing in these 80s movies. There's that woman we don't like. Oh, she's fallen overboard. It's so undignified and upsetting for her. All right, so now the spy is showing her thing. Materialism at its worst is true. She's not wrong. It is materialism at its worst. It's still kind of a dick move, though, sending somebody deliberately to spy on her and take pictures. Disband the fuckers. That's a fair question. Ooh, it's backfired on you. I don't recognize that actor, but she's pretty cool. She might be the best character, wherever she is. Cheech Marin is in here somewhere as himself. I know Robin Leach is as himself. Some of these people I don't even like. I guess that they're celebrities. Like, who's Hillary Shepard? Oh, never mind. That's not as herself. But Pia Zadora as herself. Who's Pia Zadora? Is she a fashion person? Actress and singer. Oh, she was in Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. So I've seen her because I've seen that movie. Not exactly a household name. She's 70 years old now. Why is Chica here? Has there been an assassination attempt on her dictator father? Still love how, like, in the background, that's a joke. That, like, her parents are, like, in exile because he was a dictator. I assume they're supposed to be in exile. Like, what? I mean, he can't still be the dictator of the country if he lives in Beverly Hills. So I assume they're in, like, some sort of, like, political exile because if they go back to the country, maybe they were overthrown by a coup. But, he's still got some money and influence. Right. So that's the thing about Chica is that her parents neglect her. Oh, they missed her birthday. Oh, they still have that fucking teepee up. Take it down. Again, it's nice to have a maid on hand that can whip together a birthday party for you. I do like the kitchen. I will say, of all the 80s tackiness in this movie that looks like garbage by today's standards, the kitchen doesn't look bad at all. It looks like a pretty cool kitchen. Who's that as Chica? Yeah, Carla Gino. She's 53 years old now. Fuck, time moves fast. But she was in a bunch of shitty movies. She was in Son-in-Law, Snake Eyes. Those are both awful movies. American Gangster. That movie sucks. She's in Mr. Poplar's Penguins. Gerald's Game. Wow, she's in a lot of terrible movies. She's of Italian descent. Okay. Interesting. So, I mean, I would have been 6 when this movie came out. The girls here are supposed to be, I guess, maybe 13 or so. I don't know. You think she wouldn't be 53? That doesn't seem to line up. Whatever. Okay, now we're on to the section of the movie about selling bars. Yeah, okay, so there's who I was talking about. I'm from Days of Our Lives. Cool to see her so young. And of course, nobody beats the Red Feathers when it comes to selling cookies. They want 1,000 boxes because they're so competent. So, it's a big deal to outsell everybody. And somebody does bring up their parents do bring up, why don't we just buy them? We're rich as fuck. We can just buy them. But they're like, that wouldn't count. And I was like, now they have to give up their patches because they are bullshit. They're all smiling about it. We don't need no stinking patches, she says with the Hispanic accent. Again, that's a reference that I certainly would not have known back then. Or we're probably most of this movie's target audience. So they want 2,000 boxes. Such a bitch. Your little friends in the red feathers. Everywhere. Is that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? No, it's just some other. Oh, it is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Okay. I'll say, don't mix up your tall black basketball players. They're not my friends. Those fucking red feathers. Just go to a different neighborhood then. It's a big place. California has like 10 zillion people. I'm sure you can find neighborhoods to sell cookies. Nick's on that mom business. You call me mom one more time, you're sleeping outside. It's weird that her maid has gotten so involved in this, but okay, I guess she has something to do. So I mean that is a good moral to oppose that sort of person. This is where she's like, I'm not going to be a spy and a snitch anymore. Gets rid of the notebook, gets rid of the binder, gets rid of the spy camera. She's on their team now. So they're going to have a meeting about the cookies. Is that what's happening? Yes. And they're just like, why don't we just buy the cookies? Oh, God. I hate leading forward like this. I know I can sit back here. I don't know why it's important to be closer. Nobody's watching and seeing me. I don't have my good mic when I do host streams myself. I have to use up one of the USB ports, so I can't use my good mic. I need you to hear me. Oh, she's a bitch. We get it. So is it a separate one? Okay, I kept saying like a real estate slut, but I guess this is a different slut. I don't know. Maybe she just got a haircut. They're being very civil. Why would it be an hour? What the hell do they have to talk about that's going to take so long? It's like we're selling cookies. I'll say whenever I had to sell stuff, I didn't do shit. My dad did it. Like I didn't have the right personality for it. My dad was really good at it, that kind of thing. So I can't take any credit for how much stuff I sold and most of the things. My dad did it. He was pretty good at it. I don't think he was pushy. Like I don't think he like forced it on anybody. He was pretty good at it. Doesn't mean I never sold. Like I remember when I was in elementary school, there were these chocolate bars we used to sell. I can remember selling them. And it's not like I didn't do door to door stuff in Canada. I don't know if they do the Boy Scouts in America, but in Canada we always had Apple Day, which was really fucking stupid. But you would go door to door giving people apples, and they'd make donations. I did that every goddamn year. I did trees for Canada at least 5 years, maybe even more, where you would plant trees. So it's not like I outsourced everything. I did the stuff. I'm just saying, when it came to things like when I was in band or a hockey team or something, we were trying to raise money. If we had stuff to sell, usually my dad took care of business on that end. Here we go. So she got like a Tina Turner wig, which again I would not have understood at the time. This is how they go. I do appreciate they actually wrote a song for this. Cookie time. I'm gonna turn this up. Cookie time. I don't know if this would actually work that well, but what the fuck do I know? Again, they're like, our parents could just buy the stuff, but that wouldn't be right. We need to sell it. But I mean, again, to sell it, we had to put on a big public spectacle and use our money and resources. It's like everything they accomplish, it is kind of still with money. But oh, they're selling cigarettes. That's very nice, very wholesome. I guess it's a country club. We need your dough, so don't you pause. There's the. That's pretty smart. So her mother is a pretty successful author. Okay, I've had enough of this song. Please let it end now. Now they're trying to sell it to the poor Weight Watchers people. And look, the fatter ones are giving in. Okay, it's not all fatter ones, but still. There's Robin Leach. Introducing Pia Zadora. So yeah, I mean, in 1989, was Pia Zadora somebody people really knew? I mean, yeah, I see that she was an actress and a singer, but not in anything particularly notable. I don't know. There she was, the real Pia Zadora. Fuck, she's 70 now. I remember years ago when Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous was on. Like, you had no idea it was coming. Years later, now it's all shoved in our face every fucking day by everything. Like, we don't need Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. We don't even need TV shows. We just need rich people with their Instagram and all that, just showing off, showing off, showing off. Pretty funny. There was a woman, some European bitch, whose like boyfriend was some sort of like I don't know, Romanian gangster or something, and they were living in Dubai and like really extravagantly, and she had she has this big Instagram follower. Like eventually, of course, he did get caught for whatever his fucking crimes were, and mostly it was because of her. They were like he was a fugitive in Europe for the various crimes, and all her stupid Instagram posting eventually revealed where he was, so they were able to go and arrest him. So I mean that's pretty hilarious. She's like, look at my lavish lifestyle, funded by a life of crime. It's great, and then they found it. I mean, she probably didn't go to jail, but that was the end of her money, which is pretty fucking funny. And it's nice when things like that happen. Because let's face it, I'm not saying I need money. I mean, I do, but the world. We all know the world is full of people that do not deserve the money they have, and it just sucks that they have it. They didn't earn it, and some people earned it, but like it's interesting how we define how earning works exactly, right? You're a CEO and you run your company really well. I guess you work harder than somebody in a coal mine. Apparently, it's weird how we value things and pay for things. I know I'm on the bottom, making the least money, so it's easy for me to make these statements or whatever like that. Yes, I'm jealous of the rich people. Certainly I am. I'm trying to be on the side of these girls, but it is hard because they are so rich and spoiled. A black tide jungle. I love it. This is a really bad joke. Okay, so they managed to get the washed up actor into the director's movie, and it sucks. What have they done to Annie? Hey, there's Cheech Marin. Cheech Marin's a really smart guy, by the way. Wanna wrestle? Okay, that means dance, I guess. Okay. I don't know. What is he implying? I don't really understand what that question means. How many pairs of shoes do you have? Bong bong. The dictator. Step aside, bong bong. It's the muffler king or whatever the fuck he is. So wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Yeah. So like Neffler is her married name. So his name is Freddie Neffler. Oh, that's what you meant about irony when she's talking about doing this the dance with Freddie. Okay. So he's a muffler selling guy named Neffler. Neffler's mufflers. Okay. Okay. No, the past her bedtime joke. She's young. He's dating someone young. Oh, he broke it off because she was a bitch. That's pretty weird. The lawyer was like, he's considering remarriage. And she's like, how's it going? He's like, oh, I'm not seeing her anymore. Yeah, and off screen, off camera, who the fuck knows? We just got to move the plot along, right? Oh, shit. Something I'll have to deal with later. Back to the hammocks, my friend. In the movie. We're coming up on an hour and 10 minutes. There, hour and 10 minutes. Ready? There you go. Movie's about an hour and 45 minutes to go, so we're a little over halfway through. We're about to move into our third act with the weird wilderness girl competition ship. I like it. I mean, this is really cruel what they did to what's her name? Velda. Velda looks like she's dressed like a goddamn 100-year-old. Velda. I don't remember what she does here. She's gonna do something to embarrass them. Ah, so if you win the competition at the Jamboree, you get to be on a poster. Okay, fair enough. I mean, there was a guy that was on the Love Boat. Again, maybe you're supposed to know him, but I don't know. Oh, Acres. Wow, thanks. I'm surprised. This is a really random, stupid one as far as commentaries go. This is just a movie from my childhood that I had taped off of TV in the early 90s, and I just have memories of watching, even though, the context, like all these references and stuff and the actors didn't mean anything to that. Taking care of business, which I know that title. I know the title. I don't know if I've seen it. What one is that? Taking care of business. Let me look that up. I know the title. "1990 comedy." I wonder if I've seen some of it. Oh, Jim Belushi. Man, he's an idiot. And Charles Grodin. Yeah. No, I definitely haven't seen it. If that's the one you're, yeah, Jim Belushi. Not a Jim Belushi fan, but I mean, I would watch it. Sure, I don't care. I did watch a Jim Belushi movie like about a year ago that kind of surprised me because it wasn't a comedy I thought it was supposed to be. And I was thinking about a second ago when I saw Cheech Marin because speaking of Cheech Marin, Tommy Chong, his daughter was in the movie Radon Chong or whatever her name is. There's a movie called The Principal where what is it? James Belushi plays like a principal at this really dangerous inner city school that's full of gang violence and like I thought like they were gonna be jokes, but it's just a completely straightforward movie where people are like trying to kill each other and he rides a motorcycle. And, I mean, it was dumb, but I kind of was charmed by it because it was not what I was expecting. So I was like, wow, I just watched a James Belushi movie. But yeah, Ray Dawn Chong was very pretty back in the day. She was Tommy Chong's daughter. And we just saw his partner Cheech. Cheech is in the movie, but Chong isn't. Oh, she fell in the pool, but that's okay. She made it work. Hmm. I'm glad you enjoy them, especially ones like this, because I mean, this isn't something I really put any thought or anything into. It's just a movie that popped up that I knew I wanted to watch, and I knew I probably wouldn't have anybody to do it with. Originally, I was hoping to head Jay for it, but he hadn't been around, and then I just got bored and decided I'd do it. But I'm very proud of the Harry Potter series. If you didn't know that, I started doing that. That's going to be fun, and I'll actually be able to like announce that on Twitter and stuff going forward when I'm going to do the Harry Potter ones, because those are ones I put a lot of time and preparation into. Ones like this are just off the top of my head. There's not much I can give. Oh man, there's even a poster of him as, oh, there's George Michael. But, yeah, this I'm just reacting in real time, and there's not really much to say about a movie like this. I just sort of give my own memories of it when I was a kid. As I said, I watched it as a kid. It's on a tape that we taped it off of TV, and I just used to watch it a lot. Not particularly good or funny movie, but just one of those things that hotsy totsy, nice. You're a dangerous Nestler. Jamboree is no joke. That's why I don't know. It's called Jamboree. It's hard to take something called Jamboree that serious. It's like you're gonna wild animals. I wish they did the Jamboree somewhere else. If there's one thing about this, oh, here's the scene I remember so much is her playing some sort of baseball game on Nintendo. He's like, "There's grease on my controller." This is the most memorable. I mean, this is the most relatable moment in the movie for me, even though I have stuff that relates to that with Boy Scouts and stuff like that. Is eating, drinking pop, and eating pizza and playing NES. Oh, Dad, back off. Mm. The NES is on the coffee table, which is interesting because the TV's there. I'm just thinking one of the things I remember with the NES is that its cords are not that long, so it would be hard to have it that far away from the TV. See that? Oh, okay. I love Camp Nowhere. Yeah, I love Camp Nowhere. That is a favorite. That's a big '90s favorite of mine. So that would be great to do too. Because yeah, I no, I love that movie. I think I rented that on my 11th birthday. We watched it. But yeah, I mean, I'm basically the same age as the characters in Camp Nowhere, so that was a big '90s kids movie I liked. You know, when they did the first what is it? Home Alone. When they did Home Alone in 1990, it sort of kicked off this whole subgenre of kids movies in the 90s, which is like the kids are in charge now. There was always some way of like having the kids be unsupervised so they could do what they want. It starts with Kevin Home Alone, but then it's like we need to see more kids unsupervised. It was like, what is it? Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, I think came out in 91, and that was about, these kids, the babysitter dies and the kids don't tell anybody so they can do what they want. And then Camp Nowhere is about them like basically making up their own camp so they can do whatever they want without adults interfering. Although a very well cast what's his name? Shit, Doc Brown is there. Christopher Lloyd. He's pretty funny in that. But yeah, no, I like that movie. I like that movie a lot. Yeah, yeah, Blank Checks. Quite a few movies like that where there was always some way of like the kids are turning the tables, the kids are in charge, they make the rules. That was a big thing in the '90s, and those were the movies I sort of grew up watching. Or maybe it's something like the kids just get to do something kids don't normally get to do, something outlandish like Three Ninjas, right? It's like, you know, the kids are ninjas fighting bad guys. So yeah, I watched a lot of those. But yeah, no, I always really liked Camp Nowhere. That was a favorite of mine. I think they make a mistake about Rocky. I could be wrong because maybe it's 4, but I thought they said 5 by accident because they're supposed to be like writing letters home to tell them about what they're doing at their various camps, and one of them was supposed to be at like I don't know mass camp or something like that. It's like he's like, oh, and you watched Star Trek 5. He's like, is that the one with the big Russian guy? And he's like, no, that's Rocky 5. It's like, no, that's Rocky 4. But maybe I'm misremembering. It's been a while. Kid from First Kid. Yeah, I remember First Kid. First Kid had a fuck Sinbad. Sinbad in First Kid. All right. So how is it predictable in these movies? Heading into the third act, we're at the lowest point. It's like she's gonna quit. She has to leave. And now they're giving her a big pep talk speech about how she believed in them when nobody else would, and blah blah blah. So we're just setting ourselves up. We're a team, and we can win this jamboree, even though we don't have any stinking badges or patches, as they say. Whoop. I miss saying whoop like that. But yeah, I always liked Camp Nowhere a lot. Had a really satisfying final thing too, where they fake the camps and stuff. It was pretty cool. And the other camp movie at the same time, of course, was Heavyweights. Heavyweights was a lot of fun. I liked that movie too. Heavyweights was kind of like Ben Stiller just trying out the character that he would do in Dodgeball. It's the same basic character. He just does it as like this fitness guy that helps kids lose weight, and then he just does it again 10 years later or whatever in Dodgeball. I also remember so there's a scene in Heavyweights which had Goldberg from fucking Mighty Ducks in it. But anyway, he was Josh, the badass. But so there's a part of the movie where basically to embarrass them because they aren't doing well, Ben Stiller arranges a dance with this girls' camp so that the boys would be embarrassed. And there's a part so the boys are all on one side of the room, the girls are on the other. And they're not mixing, and the boys have no confidence to go near the girls who don't want to be there. And then suddenly this girl emerges, and she's like the most beautiful of them all. And, like, and then she's like, "Where's the bathroom?" And she's like down the hall. In the credits, she is credited as Angelic Girl. That movie came out in '95, and like just a couple years later, she was like a Playboy centerfold, and she appears as herself as a Playboy bunny in the movie The House Bunny in 2007. Funny connections. All right, jamboree time. So they have to do some sort of weird race thing here, using they all have different routes to go through the hills here, and they have to I don't know. It's like a race. It's a wilderness hiking race. Yeah. This is where like it's too bad they're in this part of California because this wilderness just sucks. It's not interesting to look at. It's just sort of a bunch of it's still in a bunch. I don't know. It's just very bland looking wilderness. It never like it's never like they're really in the woods or anything. They're kind of out in the open. I don't like this. I wish they were in a different area. I mean, I guess that's what it is. Geographically, this part of California, that's what you got. Like they're not like deep in the forest or anything. They're just sort of going through some hills and some wooded areas. It's a little underwhelming. It's no big deal. Hello again. No, I haven't seen Shelley Long in hardly anything. Like as I said, like growing up, like I understand that like Shelley Long and Craig T. Nelson were like pretty big stars who were well known, but this was all I really knew them from. I didn't watch anything else they were in. So, like, Shelley Long was on Cheers, wasn't she? Like that show is like I watched a lot of shows when I was a kid, even older shows, but I did not watch Cheers ever. Right, so they have to like follow markers and yeah, I don't know. I wish they were in like a better forest. This area is kind of stupid. Oh, they're using tennis rackets to cut through the brush. Here's the bad guys that cheat even when they're confident. That's always a thing in things too. Like they have no reason to cheat. Like they're confident they're going to win anyway, but they go out of their way to like flip the markers around. That's always a weird thing that happens in movies like this. You have like a bad guy or a bad team, and for the end competition, like they already feel like they're going to win, and yet they still go out of their way to cheat anyway. But I don't know, just to show how bad they are. So now they're in a swamp with a snake. So I mean, I'll give it that. Well, that's one thing, When I went camping, I didn't have to worry about venomous snakes. There's no venomous snakes in fucking Nova Scotia. Yeah, water moccasins. Yeah. So there, I wouldn't. I don't blame them at all. There, I'm not calling them a bunch of girly girls or anything like that. I'd be the same thing if I'm in deep in that swamp muck, and then someone's like, "Well, there's water moccasins around." I would also scream and run the fuck out of there. Ooh, a skunk, very nice. I've never been in close proximity to a skunk, but I've been in places where you like drive along the highway, and you can smell that a skunk obviously was threatened and did his thing. Like I know what skunk smell is. I mean, I'm sure it's a. Yeah, they sing "Kumbaya" a million times in this movie. So did she tell her girls to cheat, or did they decide on their own? One of the red feathers is Tori Spelling, but I don't reckon I wouldn't know which she is. They are ahead of the red feathers. I mean, by only a few feet, but still. This wasn't part of the plan. I mean, Holt Neffler. What, they brought the skunk with them? That's a little strange. What are you implying there? She just picked a skunk up. Oh, yeah. She murdered the skunk and turned it into her hat. I completely forgot about that. I kind of vaguely remember Wild Hogs. I remember I was at my parents' place and they had either rented it or found it somewhere, and I kind of half watched it with them. Like Tim Allen's in it. I don't really remember. Like I technically I saw it, but it was more like I was in the room. I don't think I was really paying attention to it. My parents were watching it. Yeah, '89 was actually really great stuff. I mean, my favorite movie ever came out in '89, which is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. But also other good movies like fuck, now it's all gonna go out of my head. But Kiki's Delivery Service was '89. I know there are more, but now I'm gonna blank. So it's just them and the Red Feathers. I thought there were more troops involved, or are they just ahead of them? I don't know. All right, so it's technically against the rules for her to go. I don't. I missed that. Something there about rule breaking. And this is what I remember too. They're little. Beverly Hills is our greatest skill. Beverly Hills, what a thrill! That's my big takeaway from this movie is them going Beverly Hills, what a thrill. So we are at 1 hour 27 minutes 30 seconds. There's about 25 minutes left. Again, we've seen this in a lot of movies. She took out the bridge. How are they gonna cross? I mean, it's not even that deep of a ravine, really. Let's see. Yeah, I get it. I get why you wouldn't want to go down there, but I don't know. It looks pretty doable. I mean, this is the most dramatic part of the entire movie, which is kind of sad. It's like, oh, a bridge across a very narrow ditch we can't get across. She's totally defeated. Frost my cookies. That's good one. Oh, I'm thirsty. No more tea. Yeah, remember? She can go on a balance move. She's like, I can't let you do this. Like literally, I would have like just run across. That was the kind of kid I was. I wouldn't even said anything to anybody. I just would have run across. Like I do feel for like the scout leaders and stuff I had because I had like absolutely no fucking fear. I climbed everything. I had no fear of heights or falling whatsoever. I mean, I never fell. I was good at what I did, but I just mean I remember I was like climbing around this waterfall once, and some other guy, he wasn't my leader. He was like a leader of another troop. I don't remember what was going on. He's like, if you fall down there, someone will have to go down and get your body. I'm like, I'm not gonna fall, dude. Yeah, I love Lethal Weapon 2. Lethal Weapon 2 is really good. I think it's probably the best Lethal Weapon. Ghostbusters 2 is okay. I'm not. I was recently on a show on another channel where we did the whole Ghostbusters series. I really like the first Ghostbusters, but I'm not really a fan of Ghostbusters as like a franchise. The first one is one of my favorite movies. I love it, but then even though I was a kid and I grew up with the cartoon, I didn't love the cartoon, and I thought the second movie was okay. And you know, I was never really excited for sequels or reboots or anything that they've done. I mean, I watched all of them, but it wasn't really a big deal to me. I just really liked the first Ghostbusters. Yeah, I kind of remember Dragnet. That was Tom Hanks, I think. Yeah, so they make her go for it. I mean, and here's the other thing: if you're gonna cross a log like this, you don't have to do it this way. Why not just sort of crawl? You could just sort of get down on all fours and crawl, and it would be a lot safer. You'd be lowering your center of gravity. You would get your arms involved. You would hold on to it. So there's kind of no reason for her to walk across like this with her arms out. She's just making something dangerous even more dangerous. Oh well. I mean, if anybody arrives late, it's more my fault than theirs because most of the time, like I said, when I do ones like this, I'm not like giving notice or anything like that. I'm just sort of spontaneously doing them. As I said, I didn't really get to do it for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone either. But I mean, we're going to do the rest of those. I am going to try to like give people, notice, give people a heads up before I do those. So I really want eyes on those. Like something like this, I don't really care. I mean, it's great to have anybody watching. Like, I'm just doing this because I'm bored and want to watch the movie. I didn't know if anybody would tune in or not. But yeah, I really do want the Harry Potter series to go well, and I will try to I'll try to put it on my Twitter or something like that. I don't know if people know my Twitter. My Twitter's Cold Dark. And now she's doing it with her daughter. But yeah, her daughter's what? I know you want treats. My cat thinks it's treat time. You're a bit early. You did it! Oh my god! How do the others get across? Do they just cross or do they do something? What? There was a bridge. I'm confused. So they're just gonna split up? Yes. That's my profession, journalist. I'm in training to be like an English tutor. For the last few years, I've been an English tutor at my library, part of an adult literacy program, but that's just a volunteer thing. But I've been in training to get certified to do like professional tutoring, so that's still ongoing. But yeah, my latest profession, my 20s and my 30s, was journalism. Well, yeah, crawling is just like smarter if you're trying to like cross like she did. you've got this, you have a tree you're trying to cross a ravine on, and you're up really high. It's dangerous. Yeah. This is great. This is a good thing. Like, they're going to do exactly what she taught them to do, which is leave her ass here. It's like, well, your ankle's broken. You'll just slow us down. Fuck off, mom. I will labor with you for a second. Yeah. Okay, so there's not too many real laughs in this movie, but I do think that's a good one too. You little bitches. That is good. I hate children. I hate them. It's a beast, all right. It's Velma. What a weird name. But yeah, they're going to prove how good they are by saving their enemy. Yeah, you've messed up your blanket. She's got a blanket and a quilt with her toys are on. And when she gets bored and plays, it's all messed up. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not neglecting you. Yeah, God, I hate leaning forward like this. I don't need to, but I just feel like I have to. Yeah, I'm assuming it wasn't this. I mean, it's a pretty mediocre movie. My fondness for it, again, just comes from sort of familiarity. Taped it off TV, had it on a tape, used to kind of watch it. I remember watching with my brother and sister a few times. There's not much to it. And some of the points it's making, I don't really know. Like, again, I get it. Like, these are rich girls, but they don't want to be judged by that and think that they can't do anything or be wilderness girls just because they were born into wealth and privilege. I get that. But some of the jokes are just still like, it's really great to have lots of money. And yeah, we know it is. And like some of like the celebrity cameos, they don't seem to have any point. Like, it's not like they're like winking at us or telling any sort of joke. It's just like, yep, it's Beverly Hills. There's some famous people around here. So I mean, the movie kind of fails as a comedy, but it has at least a couple moments, like at that whole part where she's screaming at those girls, calling them little bitches, which is pretty funny. I mean, Velma is pretty funny as a villain, but I think a lot of the jokes or attempted humor in the movie kind of falls flat. It's just sort of lame, but Oh, the director's here trying to shoot this. Oh, okay, sure. Gotta get the parents involved somehow, right? The theme of the shot is victory. I hope no director is really that pretentious, but they probably are. It's like, ah, oh, shit, it's the Red Feathers. But they're disqualified because they left their leader behind. We're going to be on a poster, which is meaningful in some way or another. Give Cleo credit, although she like grabs at the trophy here. The power of treats. It is very powerful. We came to win and we won. That's a good victory speech. I like it. Give us that trophy. Okay, so I guess they care more about the trophy than the poster. Where's your mother? I don't know. We left her dead on the trail somewhere. Probably getting eaten by coyotes. They actually do take off with the trophy, which is pretty funny. Oh, we get it. Yeah, so I think the one with her is Tori Spelling. Whatever. Only going to see her face there. Oh, it must be Velda. Velda. I was saying Velda. Velda. Velda is the only movie or book or anything where I've heard the name Velda before. You guys win for moral fortitude or something. But yeah, the main one, the older woman, she's pretty good too. She's probably the best character in the movie, actually. True Beverly Hills, baby. This is an amazing like rant Zelda's about to give. But how she's gonna make her own. I'm the only real wilderness girl. Senile old hag. Fire. That's right. She's gonna secede. She calls them pilgrims. Yeah, plunder's pilgrims. I like it. Pilgrims, privateers, pioneers. Oh, nice. Avengers, really good. Okay, that's not a very good joke, but oh well. They can't all be Jones. You're still supposed to get on the poster if you don't get the trophy. Well, oh, what the fuck? Yeah, quite the public meltdown. I'm here for it. Yeah, so some of these plots go unresolved regarding the girls and their parents and things. Although I guess the girl that was worried about money, everything's gonna be okay because her washed-up actor father got cast in the movie by the other father director, and that's gonna turn his career around. And I guess the jet-setting parents that ignore what's her name, Chica, are gonna come back. I don't know, but yeah, they're gonna get back together, which again was more of an '80s thing. They finally turned around. It's like if we have parents getting divorced, we can't have we gotta let them make it up and not get divorced. So going for a more happy thing, less realist. I don't mind it, but I mean that was sort of more the vibe they did in most of these movies in the '80s. And as I said, I think they kind of turned things around with Mrs. Doubtfire in '93, where the divorce was final, and they were like, "Yeah, it's a normal thing, and it actually is better for them to stay divorced." As wacky as the movie was, it still made that sort of realistic point. And some divorce isn't fun or anything anybody wants, but sometimes it's for the best for the people involved and kids and everything like that. But this is just one of those, no, we're not going to get divorced, it's about time you two grew up, she says. I guess the divorce was final because they're going to get remarried. Okay. Beverly Hills is number one. We're number one. Yeah, there's the poster. Okay. Troop 332, Beverly Hills, Southern California, 1990. Great. I do actually like this end too. She's in Kmart. Cookies. It actually does end on a pretty good joke for a movie that does not really have good jokes. Yeah, get back to that Beach Boys song that I completely forgot about. Forgot about that until the animated opening. A hockey movie. Yeah. To do something with hockey on the channel. Up on the bright lights. So that was Beverly Hills. Troop Beverly Hills. Not a particularly good movie, but just one I've always had an affinity for. Just again, it's more of a familiarity thing. Taped it off TV, watched it quite a bit as a kid. So as I said, when I watched it, like the actors, the references, none of that was all lost to me. I didn't really know. I mean, I basically got the gist of the movie, which was, these girls were rich and born into lives of privilege, and because of that, people made assumptions about them and assumed they couldn't do anything for themselves, and they definitely couldn't be wilderness girls or girl guides or whatever the fuck you want to call. And they were proving, but still, it is a little tougher because at the same time, it's like, yeah, they got problems like anybody else, but they're still, really rich, which must be nice. But some of the usual cliches too, like with Chica, like yes, her parent, she's rich, but her parents are always off doing stuff and kind of neglecting her. And that is very sad. I get it. Money can't make up for things like that, but still, I feel like some of that kind of falls short in the movie because it also makes a lot of jokes. That's just like it's really fun to have a lot of money. It's like, yeah, I know it is. Wouldn't it be nice? I always do full credits for these things. I don't want to cut off. So, do what you want. I can't believe I forgot about this song. It's not like it's a very good song, but at the time when I was a kid, my favorite band was the Beach Boys. I loved the Beach Boys. Yeah, I really like Camp Nowhere. That remains a favorite. So, as I said, as far as that whole genre of like kids make the rules or kids are on their own type thing, that's my favorite of them. Do, 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 do. How do you go here? Performed by the Olympics. Do the Freddie. Performed by Freddie and the Dreamers. When I'm 64 was in there? I didn't notice that. Surprise. Beatles songs cost a lot, which I think was actually Michael Jackson's fault. Have to keep out the catalog because you see a lot of movies they don't use Beatles songs because they cost more to use, and that's why you never hear them on TV and stuff like that. The one that always surprised me, and I wonder if this is Courtney Love's fault. Like, why are there so few Nirvana songs in movies? Like when the Batman came out a couple years ago, and before the movie came out, and it is in the movie, but everybody got excited watching watching the trailer for it, and the trailer, of course, had Nirvana song on it. I can't remember the name. It'll come to me later. But I mean, very few movies I can think of. I mean, one of the biggest bands in the world, most popular of that decade, and yet like barely any movies actually. The only other movie I can think of that used a Nirvana song, I think it was 2007. It was that movie Shoot 'Em Up, which was like Paul Giamatti was a bad guy, and the main guy was I never remember his name, Clive Owen. That actually had, I think, Breed or something. Was it Breed? I think it was Breed. It's hard to remember now. But anyway, I just always thought it was weird that like Nirvana did not really show up on many soundtracks. It was a big deal when the Batman used it. Fuck, why can't I remember what it's called? The album Inside Out. It's from their big album. Never mind. It's Under the Bridge. Something in the Way. Something in the Way. It's a really cool song. I like Handler Rocks the Cradle. It's pretty good. It's one I saw pretty young. Kind of made an impression on me. But that's it for tonight. So thanks a lot for anyone that tuned in, even if it was only for a second. And of course, to Acres of Movies for the conversation back and forth. I'm glad you like this one because, as I said, this is kind of more of a half-assed one. It's not one that really, it's not a particularly good or deep movie or much that I can provide too much insight onto or interesting background facts. It just kind of was a movie, but yeah, I remember House. I would not have remembered House Arrest, but yeah, I think I only saw like towards the end of House Arrest because that's all I remember. All I can really remember is like the last like third of that movie. I don't remember the setup or anything. Just one of those movies that, yeah, I remember where I was. I remember I was in a friend's basement, and maybe we came upon the end of it. I don't know. But that's one I would not have thought of if you hadn't mentioned it. But anyway, that's it for tonight. I'm hoping to do some more action stuff because that's usually what I used to do. Is I like to do action movies, but not by myself. Although if you look back, you'll see I've done quite a few by myself. I prefer to have Jay or Orc or somebody with me for action ones, at least bounce stuff off of. So I assume the next thing I do will either be some sort of action thing, because I mean it's probably going to be a little while before the next Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, but we'll keep an eye out for that anyway. That depends upon Jess, who's pretty busy because he's a crucial part of it. But as for the ones that I do by myself, they're always just sort of oh, I had somebody years ago, somebody good for Kurt Cobain. I remember there were people who were actually like saying like David Spade could pull it off. I'm like, no. I mean, I get it. David Spade is short and has fair hair, but I mean that does not mean he can pull it off. You know what? In like '97 or so, there was a made-for-TV movie based on a real school shooting, and in it, the shooter was played by a then I guess teenaged Ricky Schroeder. And in that movie, Ricky Schroeder looked a lot like Kurt Cobain. So I don't like Ricky Schroeder. I think he's a dumbass. And the window has closed anyway. But I'm just saying, if they had made a Nirvana movie in, say, like the late 90s or early 2000s, I think he could have done it. I always thought, like, I can't remember the name of the movie. It's a made for TV movie. It's about a school shooting. Fonzie is in it. He's a cop. Henry Winkler. He's like this cop that, like, talks to him and tries to negotiate with him and stuff. But anyway, it's a pretty good movie that I haven't seen in a million years. It's called like Lockdown at something high or something like I don't know. You can probably find it. But anyway, if you see like even a shot from that, like Ray Schroeder kind of looks a lot like Kurt Cobain in it. He's probably a bit too tall. Kurt was only 5'7". I'm not saying you have to have the exact height or anything like that. I'm just saying it would be distracting if you cast somebody tall as him because he just wasn't. Which is one of the reasons why like the members of Queen were never that sold on Sacha Baron Cohen playing Freddie Mercury when he had the idea first, because Sacha Baron Cohen is like 6'4", and like Freddie Mercury was like 5'8", 5'9". They're like, it was just too weird to have this like Freddie Mercury that towered over everybody because it wasn't right. But anyway, that's gonna do it. So thanks so much for anyway coming by. Nothing else to say about Troop Beverly Hills. It's a movie. It's a movie from my past that I kind of enjoy. It's not particularly good or memorable, but it's kind of fun. I wanted to do it. It's too bad Jay couldn't join me. Maybe I could have waited for him. I don't know. But anyway, hopefully I'll have somebody around to bounce things off of when I do like an action movie or something like that. Swordfish is a possibility, I suppose. I haven't seen it since it was like new. What's everybody remember of Swordfish? The only thing I remember of Swordfish is that you got to have a brief topless scene of Halle Berry. So that's good enough. Anyway, thanks so much. So we're going to sign off here. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good night, Acres. I'll see everybody next time. Thank you. Peace out. Bye-bye.